Parliament today, we are chatting about self-care and our personal checklists for self-care. It is a buzzword that we all throw around, sometimes without giving much thought to it. But how do we define self-care, Katie?
Personally, self-care for me is self-love. It's really not about maintenance. It's not about going to have a manicure, pedicure, get to the gym. None of that. Okay, gym is important about from a self-care perspective, but really it's about how do I create things that are good for me. And when I look at it, I think that over the past couple of years, I did not love myself enough. Mm-hmm. You know, it was really about everything else that was a priority but myself. So I think in my 50s, I decided, what does self-care look for me? And I think that's where I am now.
And it went way beyond, let's go to the mani and pedi lounge and get our nails looking nice and all of that. It became much more of a... Yeah, it became something completely different. And that's what I was saying. I think, you know, sometimes you hear people talk about self-care and really... I think we need to delve into what that exactly means, because it's not that superficial at the end of the day.
It absolutely isn't.
I read something very interesting, and I'm going to read it, and it talks about self-care being when we take measures to ensure our emotional, mental, and physical health. And then there's soul care, which is part of your self-care, but that's when you actually believe that you are worthy and deserving of those measures for your own spiritual health, well-being, and your evolution. And then didn't we speak earlier on about, what was it? Maintenance was exactly what you were. So self-care, sometimes people refer to self-care, but they talk about self-care, but actually what we're talking about is maintenance. If you're taking a bath, you're maintaining your body. If you're having your nails done, you're maintaining
a facial. You make me sound like a car now.
A facial is maintenance, right?
It is, yes.
So, yeah.
So, yes, when you talk about soul care, and I know that's extremely important, and I know that for me is so deep, because soul care is very spiritual for me. Soul care is so deep for me. It is really about my relationship with my Creator. It's really about my purpose, the reason I'm here. And it's a conversation I have with my Creator about honoring the Creator, because I am His creation. Yeah. And that for me has made such a huge difference, because if I don't take care of myself, I'm dishonoring why I am here on earth. And it has made such a huge difference in my life. Soul care is a personal journey. Self-care is a personal journey, but more importantly, it is an act of love.
It's an act of love and self-love, and it starts with you. That's where it comes. That's really what it comes down to.
So, what are the activities that we think self-care is? Because I know people would disagree with us, but when you talk about, because it has to have some kind of activity.
Yeah. Can I start?
Well, you can start, but I'm going to defer on you on that one, because at this moment in time, I think you're not having self-care enough.
No, but that is what I want to say. So, and that's why I thought, let me start with it, because you and I have spoken about this as well. Remember, I used to be very good at self-care and in terms of what we look or what we define self-care to be. And I used to have these routines, in the morning. I would get up in the morning, I would have some quiet time, I would sit down, I would listen to the birds, I would read, I would play some music, I would do all of those gentle into the morning, easing into the morning kind of activities. And then when I get dressed, to the shoes, I would be ready for the day. Now I get up and I'm like, oh my word, I was supposed to call Katie, and oh my word, I need to do this, and it's like, look
that
at me.
that hair. No wonder crazy. You're losing some of your hair. Your hand is too much in your hair.
So no, but I'm showing it. What I'm doing. It's crazy. So what we're talking about is literally that routine, I think, anchors me. And at the moment, I don't have that, especially my morning routine. And I think self-care really is about having a great morning routine for me. Yeah. That's the start of self-care for me. And I know you wanted me to talk about that because you were looking at me thinking you are a mess at the moment.
You're a bag lady. I've seen you come to my house with probably 4 different types of bags. Yeah. But look, in saying that, so am I sometimes. And I have, and I know the challenges that you're facing now, and your priority is kind of taken, a backseat. And I think self-care is a priority, which means you have to be
should
in the
be.
driver's seat. You have to be in the front. It should be. But again, when we talk about that, we have to embrace the changes that happens. And for me, my routine is really prayer in the morning. It's the devotion, prayer, my meditation, and a cup of tea. And I think it is also, how do I set the scene for the day? Because if I do not start like that, my day is going to be so upset, and I know I'm going to be anxious. Because everything else becomes a priority. So I think having that routine is very important. And yes, there are things that are going to come your way that's going to throw you, out for the day. But I think it's about creating the boundaries that we need to talk about.
Yeah, we should talk about the boundaries. And you were talking about planning. So this is all part of that. So I think what is important to understand is that we always strive to have good self-care. We always strive to have all of these checkpoints that we're going through. But sometimes life happens, and don't be too hard on yourself. But what is important is to be self-aware and to have awareness, and not to let it run to the point where it is completely out of control and now you're really burned out and falling apart.
But I think you need to give your time. You need to give, me, and I think sometimes it's important because I tell this to other people as well, is that you can't just say this is going to be an endless, I'm going to be all over. You need to have a plan to say, my boundaries now, by June 27th, I
Yes.
could make changes.
That's what I mean.
Because what's going to happen is we're going to say, yes, there's all these things that are happening and everybody else is more important and everybody else seems to want things. That's when you sit back and you realize, when you start honoring your boundaries, you slow down. Which means your body is slowing down, your brain is slowing down. You become, you start reflecting on your true priorities. Because I think we're, as women, as older women that are mums and grandmothers and aunts and friends and business women, everything else seems to be a priority. And there has to be a level of, when do we say no? When do we say not now? And when do people honor our no and not now?
Yes, absolutely. And that is normally something difficult, especially if you're a mom or a grandmother, or you have families that depend on you, or staff depending on you. It becomes really vitally important to be able to say no. And it's a small word, but no needs to become something.
No
that
is a
we
complete
do.
sentence.
It's a complete sentence. But people struggle with that. So I want to talk about that, because I think the fact that we can so easily put everybody else ahead of us, that is probably where the boundary is, in terms of, am I going to take care of myself? How does my self-care look or not? No is boundaries. No is really that buzzword that we need to use more often. It's like, I said no.
As long as they respect the no's. And I know that a lot of people that I know say, well, they can't say no to me. And because I'm quite commanding and I think demanding on some of the stuff that I want or need. And I only realized that when people said to me last year, but they said it in a very jest, and I had to take a step back and say, I also need to be gentle to other people for their self-care. So that's also you become so conscious, because as much as I'm trying to self-care about myself, I am the one that's trying to want things, need things, and probably mess other people's self-care routine up. So from a conscious perspective, I also realized that I needed to make a lot of changes, and that those boundaries and respect other people's no's, when I started being conscious of other people's self-care, because I'm the one that is a bit pushy about certain things. And again, when it comes to work, when it comes to, from a professional perspective, I need things done. I want it done a certain way. I need it to be at a certain time. I need it to look at a certain way. And I try to take that when clients or friends ask me for things. And I've also felt that I have different relationships with different people. So some people's no, so some no's for me are like, you know what, let me figure things out for you quickly. And I think it's a nurturer thing. So sometimes it's not a hard no, it's a no, but I'll just do it because I have a softer relationship with you. I don't know if I'm a bit hypocritical on that way, but I think it's because I have a different relationships with certain people. And it is important because if we do not say no to our clients, to our families about certain things, today could be do it now, run. And then I noticed that in a month from now, it's something else. In a month from now, it's something else. So I think, it depends on the relationships.
Boundaries is then one of the things that we know for sure that we need to be very clear about. Our personal boundaries, because people, and especially kids, if I look at my granddaughter, she'll try and push the boundaries on certain things. Adults do the same thing. People will push boundaries, but you need to be very clear about your boundaries, and that's what we're saying. Talking about relationships.
I think I push boundaries.
Oh, you
and
do.
I do push boundaries. And it's because I want to be a perfectionist. I want things done. I do push boundaries. It's not that I'm happy about it, but I think we live in such a high-paced life. Things need to be done yesterday, and I am working on it.
So I agree with you. We do push boundaries, and you do push boundaries. But I know for a fact that you're very conscious and you're very aware of what you're doing and in what circumstances you're doing it. And I think that is important.
And it's a working progress.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now, if for instance, if we can use an example, if you had to do that in a different situation where we're just trying to get our way, for no purpose.
I could probably do that
probably
with,
do that too. Cut
as
that out.
well.
Cut that out. Just cut that whole thing out.
Tantrums.
That doesn't make.
I think I was the tantrum thrower. Oh my word, I think I need lots of self-care.
Okay. So how do we get better at this?
Well, I'm just going to read lots of inspirational stuff.
Well, then you can just talk to me because I'm an inspirational speaker. But seriously, how do we get better?
I think it's working. Like you said, conscious working on it. For me, it's deriving a plan of self-care. It is really deriving a plan of self-care. What does my checklist look like? Going back to the beginning, what does my checklist look like? And I think I am so into having, I've recently had to look back and think, am I selfish because of what I'm choosing to do as well? Because again, that's the other thing. You look back and say, oh my God, if I'm saying no, or if I'm saying no, I can't do this now or can't go there or whatever, is that just being selfish? So you also have to, because some people think your self-care is selfish to them as well. And I think it's a very important thing is when you have the plan, make it seem as though it's not selfish. And also it's other people's problems if they do not understand where you are wanting to go with your checklist.
You know what? My mind is just wandering to something else. We're coming back to your checklist now, and I'm thinking you and I should go for lessons on saying no. My son, Stefan, my younger son, Stefan is very good at saying no. Stefan will look at you with a straight face and say, unfortunately, I can't do that right now.
I have a sister exactly like that.
And Stefan is very clear about that. But anything, what's next?
And she can say no to my mom. I can't say no to my mom. And then I think to myself, I am the eldest. I should be able to say no to my mom. She was like, no, mom, not today. Can't do it now at this moment in time. And I'm like, okay, well, I have to learn from her as well. And I think it does also come across as a bit cold and offish as well.
Sometimes.
But I think we do need to...
They're clear about where their boundaries are. I mean, I have to respect that. They're clear on where their boundaries are.
But I also don't think that there's a rule book.
No,
and I think we must... And again, it's really about... There is no rule book. One of my plans as well about self-care is really working on things that I enjoy doing. Working on new things. Being creative. Having a conversation with a stranger. Although in this day and age it's a little bit scary, but really, doing things that
new things.
New things. I want to do a calligraphy course as an example. I realized that we've we stopped writing years ago, and we forgot. And now when I try to write, because I love to write, and it looks a little bit like owl scratches. Owl scratches. But I want to do that. I want to learn a new language. I want to probably be more effective in volunteering, not just like throw money at someone. I want to be able to spend time with in an old age home because I love old people.
And also doing things, I guess, that speaks to doing things that you really enjoy. things that we really love doing, not just things that we have to do.
Well, I
but
think
the
I
things
know
we
what
love
you like doing
What do I love
recently
doing?
now is sleeping. And that is a
After,
big
after last
self-care.
night. Yeah, no. So self-care really is. But that is definitely, we need to get enough sleep, not
Yes.
just for
We need a lot of sleep.
for the
We need our 8-hour sleep. Yes.
for the
But that is a
hydration.
huge self-care because I think it's not even, it doesn't, it's not about maintenance. That
Yeah.
is something that is so compulsory
Yeah.
for the benefit of our body. And because of our anxiety, because of our lack of boundaries, because all these things that are happening, we do not get to sleep well.
How many hours do you get per night, on average?
Maybe if I'm not on the phone with lots of people in the night, probably 5 hours.
5 hours.
Yeah. And I'm okay with 5 hours.
What is I wonder what it is.
They say 8 hours. They
But,
say
I mean,
you
for adults
need
of our
8.
age,
No, they say you
think
do
we need
need
less.
8. Do we need less?
I
I
think
don't.
we
I
need
think
less.
that's a fallacy about us being older and we need less time. That is definitely a fallacy. Our
You
body
see,
does need
8
an
hours.
8-hour stop.
Do you
So if
realize that if we go to what time do you have to go to bed?
well, they
get
say
8 hours?
9:30. If you have to get up early, they say 9:30. But how would I be on TikTok between 9:30 and 11:30 if I can't be in bed?
exactly.
Because that's my TikTok time. But if you break down your hours of 24 hours, and they say you kind of break it down into 8 hours, so 8 hours of personal, 8 hours of work, and 8 hours of sleep. Because sleep is really, it's about how our body is going to heal and physically heal,
No, it
mentally
is.
heal, spiritually heal. And I think we do need 8 hours. If we do split
So
that.
I need to work this out, Katie, because I get up at 4 o'clock, so I'm gonna have to work back and see. I need to go to bed at 6 or something like that.
No. You've been doing pretty well because every time you commit to being on a call with me, I don't hear anything from you. And I'm thinking, well, this girl is clearly having a long nap.
Long nap. Anyway, so let's talk about. I wanted to just on my checklist for self-care. I really feel that I need to get out, for instance, into nature. I need to go for walks. I need to hike. That is really, something that for me really works. It kind of does good for my soul. It does good for just the way I feel. I can leave my phone behind. I can leave my iPad and my work behind. And I actually remove myself from. So I need to get. I used to be really good at it. Now I need to get back into my Sunday hikes and all
It's
of
the
that.
one thing every time you speak about nature, I look at that. I hear you and I'm like, I don't know how to do that.
I'll take
I am
you.
from the village. I have been born in the bush, literally.
And now you don't go
And
back.
I do not want to be back in there. I
grew up on a
just hear too many
farm.
things and I see too many things. I am at peace in front of an ocean.
What about the game reserve? Just go for a drive in the Pilanesberg.
I'm having a conversation with a lion. Do not come near me. I'm looking at a cheetah. I'm already thinking how it's going to pounce on me. So I'm not enjoying being in the game reserve.
Okay, for those people listening to this, this is not for Katie. If you really would like to de-stress and feel much better about yourself, go out into nature.
Would I be able to have my makeup in there?
Sit with your feet in a stream. Walk barefoot.
I could be in a cruise.
I take my red lipstick, by the way.
Yeah,
When
well.
I went up the mountain, Kilimanjaro, I summited with my lipstick.
Well,
So you know what? You can always bring these things with you.
okay.
We'll
All
try
right.
it. We'll give
Look,
it a go.
we will
one
try
Sunday.
it. We will
Okay.
try it. But I'm a moaner. You have some friends that are moaners. I will be a moaner on the hike. I am a moaner. My sister is a hiker, and every time she does say, and I'm like, are you a bit insane? It's like 2 degrees, 5 degrees. But if she's committed to do a hike, that's where she's going.
Okay, now, but let me tell you, for those people who love nature, it does work. It's a real awesome way of self-care.
Yeah. On that note, my sister, who's a hiker and a walker, Zai, and I said to her, oh, don't you worry, I am going to get my self-care 10,000 steps going. And then she's like, where are you walking to? I'm like, I have a treadmill. She's like, oh no, but you need to be walking out in the streets. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Fresh
no,
air.
I have a treadmill. It's on my patio. There is fresh air.
just sold my treadmill.
I see the leaves. I look at the water at the pool. So we do defer about
Yeah.
self-care,
Okay.
and it's what works. So for me, my checklist has always been about, I want to work on new things. I want to create boundaries. I want to devise a plan every day. I want to have a routine, and I really am working on discipline and commitment to myself. So my journey is always about about the love journey.
I think at the end of the day, we need to self-care is about doing what serves you. I mean, obviously we do service to others, but at the end of the day, you need to do what serves you and get rid of the things that actually doesn't serve you as a human being. And then sometimes self-care is also not just about us. It's also about the relationships and other people and how they care about us in, in different situations, whether it's your friends or your family. I don't know how you see that, but before you answer that, I also want to bring in something else. And this is in two things you have to answer, Katie.
I'm not climbing Kilimanjaro.
No, but so there's that part of other people and how they fit into our self-care routine, and there's also about choosing who you let into your space, because sometimes you let people into your space that actually drain you.
Absolutely.
So we need to be very careful and very clear about who are we allowing into our space in terms of relationships.
It's about the energy. I always believe that people that you want to hang out with or want to hang out with you is really about having a great energy, a soulful energy, and just be in the right vibration. For me, I pick it up. I already pick that up when I see someone or a friend that's already going through. I mean, I have a lot of friends or people that I know. Yeah. I know when they're phoning me, I don't know if I need to take that call because I have to rethink, because it's always about them.
Yeah.
And I think to myself, yes, as a friend, it has to be about them, of course, but I don't want to be somebody that's always the person that's just, getting your baggage, your untidiness baggage, your weight baggage, everything. And then I have to remind some of them that, but you are privileged. You just do not have. Yes, you just do not have electricity today. But you got to keep reminding them. But I realize also that I do call out my friends, and I do tell them. Some of them, are not happy with me at certain times. But I know that I have been that girl that everybody dumps themselves onto, and I've learned that. Enough is enough. I don't want to hear about gossip. I don't want to hear about other people. I don't want to hear things that are on social media. I don't want to hear the fact is that electricity is a problem for us. It's a global problem. I don't want to hear the fact is that water is expensive. It really is a weight.
It drains you.
So what I realize that for myself is that I choose not to take the call because I know I'm not filling. It's not filling.
You actually say no.
Yes. So I choose not to take the call. I send a WhatsApp back to say, can't make, because I know you're going to call me about something you saw or something you heard. So I think I just choose that on my friends, with my family, including my mother, because I know I cannot have a 2-minute conversation with my mother. It has to be a 30-minute conversation with my mother. And then I know that if something went wrong, my sisters would have told me. So I know my mom's either trying to tell me something about some friend that she knows or somebody's going, because it's always an extended person that's having drama. So yes, it is making that decision about spending time with people. I don't want to have coffee aimlessly with someone. I don't want to have a conversation where, can I pick your brain? My brain has a currency, and the currency is $1 as well. So don't call me and say, can I pick your brain?
You sell your brain in dollars, eh?
I sell my brain in dollars. I've always held my brain in dollars. So those are the things that I think from a relationship perspective, different relationships that we have to kind of box them and make decisions.
And we're going to pick up on this conversation because we're going to do something focused on relationships, and I think we're going to talk about people that you want to unfriend and refriend and not whatever, but that's for another day.
It's for another day. Yes. It is easy to unfriend, not so easy to refriend, but these are also self-care, because I think when a lot of our friends do take a lot of stuff away from us, it is a level of self-care. Not that you don't love them anymore. It is I have a lot going on, and I don't think I can take your baggage along with me.
Well, here's to self-care. Thank you for joining us on Outspoken Owls. Catch us next time.